Happy post 4th of July, everybody. I know some of you are probably still reeling from all the good barbecue food you had yesterday and the fireworks, and I hope everyone had a fun and safe 4th of July. I know I had a pretty good time yesterday. I went to a barbecue, had some grilled chicken, had some rice. Everything was really nice, and there was good music. Pretty fun time. So today, on this awesome New Jersey rainy day, even though it hasn't rained yet, but no, New Jersey, it's probably gonna rain. I am going to be talking about identity. And I'm sure many of you who are watching this video probably have that type of question on your mind. I mean, identity is something that every one of us is struggling with and every one of us is still figuring out. It's what defines us and also what doesn't define us. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I'm personally going through in terms of identity. And before I continue, please subscribe to my channel for more content. And also feel free to comment below on this video of any of your experiences. Sorry guys, coughing a little bit. I don't know, this heat makes me sick. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about my identity. When I was born, I was the only kid out of all my cousins. I mean, when I was a kid, all my cousins and my siblings were either in college or about to get married. So the generational gap between me and my cousins was super large that I probably wouldn't have been able to connect with them. And even right now that I've finished college, I still can't quite connect with them because a lot of the stuff there and a lot of the stuff they talk about and a lot of the stuff that they're going through is not what I'm going through. I mean, they're married with kids right now and I'm nowhere near that. So I think that also contributed to me not really connecting with other young Nigerians like me. And growing up, I went to, Nigerian parties that someone invited my family and I to, and I, would talk to the other Nigerian kids, and of course I went to Nigerian churches growing up, so I was around that space, but still there were times where I felt like I didn't quite fit in. And then going back to the school aspect of it, around elementary school, this Catholic school I was going to, so this Catholic school I was going to was in a town where I would say it's a lot like the town I live in now, where it's predominantly white, but there are some people from other ethnicities, ethnic backgrounds that live in the town. But so that's the Catholic elementary school that I went to. That was the kind of neighborhood it was in. But the place where I was living was a predominantly black neighborhood. So I would go to this Catholic elementary school where most of the administration were white, but the students around me were black and Latino majority. So I remember I would I'm living at home. My parents are teaching me, the ways of being a Nigerian and the traditional ways, and so that's what I'm gonna emulate, obviously, in the public. But then in order to belong with the Black American students around me, I would try and listen to more maybe African American music like hip hop, rap, R&B, and then just so I can relate to students, the Black American students more, because I mean no kid wants to not belong. And I remember I used to get made fun of actually in elementary school, heck even middle school, and probably a little bit in high school actually, of my name, because my name is not an American name at all. Like I said, my parents gave me a traditional Nigerian name. So I would get made fun of, people would call me African booty scratcher, which, by the way, people are still doing those jokes right now. To any kids with African names or kids that are going to school here and from Africa, guys, that joke is tired, and you really should try and learn about some culture. Anyway, yeah, so I would get called, messed up nicknames like that, and I remember I'd do this whole spiel about, well, okay, yeah, my name may be a Nigerian name, but I was born and raised here, trying to prove my Americanness. But then I'd go home and my parents told me, no, you're Nigerian, you're African. I mean, obviously they know I'm an American child too, but they want to, they say that to me because they don't want me to forget my roots. They want me to know that, hey, like, you are African. You have African blood flowing through you. We're both African. Your name is African. That's part of identity. So I found myself doing that spiel so many times because I wanted to prove to the other Black Americans and other American students around me, that I too was like them. I remember it got so interesting that in the fourth grade, when I think kids start getting a little snarky, like start knowing a little bit about the world. I never used to curse before, but I remember a good amount of the fourth graders would, be a little smart mouth. So because I wanted to fit in with them and show that, yeah, I'm cool, I'm tough too, I started cursing, and then it got to the point where I would say it in front of my parents, and my parents were like, where the heck did you pick this from? When did you start cursing? Like, we didn't raise you that way. We're not out here, da da da. So that cut quit. Now, fast forward a little bit, where I moved from Irvington, which was a predominantly Black neighborhood, to North Brunswick. And North Brunswick is much more predominantly white. Yes, there are some other ethnicities that live here. In fact, North Brunswick has a pretty big Indian population, and other, Asian, African, other ethnic groups, Latino. So, but it's still pretty predominantly white. Like, North Brunswick has an old type of charm about it. So in the fifth grade, I moved to North Brunswick, and I instantly go from being surrounded by people that look like me to a lot of people that don't look like me. So I ended up being surrounded more by Caucasian students, and then again the identity shifts. I noticed that a lot of the students in my fifth grade class were wearing clothes that I've never worn before. I mean, because I went to a Catholic school, a Catholic private school, so I was only wearing uniforms. But then I would see all the other students like me, they would wear Justice and Hollister and Abercrombie and Aeropostale. So again, in trying to fit in, I remember begging my parents to, hey, can we please shop at Justice? I want to wear this. All the cool kids are wearing this. I don't want to be left out. So then I started wearing Aeropostale. I started wearing Justice, and I still got the question with my name. Oh, how do you pronounce your name? I don't know how to pronounce that. So I went with not only did I shorten my name, my full name is Tama, but I shortened it to Tama. But to appeal to a lot of my Caucasian classmates and teachers and just non-Nigerian or African people around me, I would Americanize it even more and say Tama. So for the longest time, I've been pronouncing my name as Tama whenever someone talks to me. So, and I think when I moved to North Brunswick in the fifth grade, I believe that my time from fifth grade up until high school, because that's how long fifth grade up until high school. I mean, I'm still in this town, but those formidable years from fifth grade up until high school, where I was living in this town, and that's when, you're going through puberty, and your body's changing, your emotions are changing. That's when your identity, I think, as a person really starts to take hold. And I think that's when the identity struggles really started to manifest itself. Now I'm trying to navigate in not just an African American space, I'm trying to navigate in a predominantly white space. Again, I told you guys when I was the first preschool I went to, I was the only black kid there. It's very hard, and I'm just now really coming to the realization that that time period where I was trying to navigate all these different identities, Nigerian, African American, and then the white spaces, that really that still has an effect on my personality, on my identity. I I thought I was a first generation Nigerian American, but after talking with some other person that is a first generation Canadian, they said I'm actually second generation. Since I was born and raised here, even though my parents are African immigrants. So it's it's something that I'm now realizing that when people ask me who I am, I still struggle with defining that because I've played these multiple identities. I've tried to, because I want to belong somewhere, because I want to belong to a community. And I think going into to college, and some of you guys know that I go to the University of Connecticut. Going into college, I think amplified more of the identity in trying to navigate the white spaces, because the school that I went to, and I didn't really realize it until I got to campus, is very much predominantly white. I mean, it's what the Twitter folks and the internet folks call a PWI, predominantly white institution. And a lot of the pamphlets that they had before I got to college that I would read, it said diversity, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool, diversity, it'll be just like my town. Then I went there, I was like, wow, where are the black people? There is not that many black people here. Wow, there's a lot of white people here. And so again, that uncomfortableness and trying to navigate in a very much white space, identity issues come into play. That narrative that I grew up telling people when I was young, explaining, yes, I'm an American, but I know I have a different sounding name. It's because my parents are Nigerian. So when people ask me, oh, so what are you? I'd be like, oh, I'm American, but I'm also Nigerian, but I was born and raised here, but my parents, and telling this whole monologue because I'm not comfortable with what society is going to label me as, because anything, it's like it's a defense mechanism. Anything someone will label me as, oh, you're this, you're that, I would immediately, take defense, like, no, you don't really know my story, you don't really know who I am. But I also don't really know who I am. I'm still struggling to be comfortable with who I am. So I go into my college, and a good amount of my friends are white, and not because that is what I sought out, but because that was the space I was in. So I do believe I definitely morphed my identity a good amount to try and fit in, because again, no one wants to be alone. So not to say I completely forgot my Nigerian roots. I definitely don't. I definitely didn't, and it's still with me. I mean, my name is a pure indicator that I'm not your typical American. So, but whether it was the music I was listening to, like getting more and more into alternative rock, like talking about the bands I liked, whether it's maybe some food that I liked, or maybe it's the clothes that I would wear. And I remember even trying to join a sorority in college just so I could fit in. And I looked at both the typical American ones, the ones that are not the pan Hellenic, and that's PAN with a dash and then Hellenic. The National Pan Hellenic Associations are the historically black ones. And I remember looking at both those and the predominantly white ones. And I think essentially I drew more to the predominantly white ones because I wanted to belong. When you're in a predominantly white institution, what do you probably want to do? You probably want to belong. So I ended up not doing any of the sororities. I ended up joining other, clubs and organizations on campus that were just as beneficial to me. But I really think that amplified it even more about my struggle to identify who I am, my struggle to be comfortable with myself, and being comfortable with, okay, if society's gonna label you this, this, and this, I mean, at the end of the day, you know who you are, and struggling to find out what can I label myself as, who am I really. So I'm gonna leave it at that right now. Anyway, hope y'all have a great day, great weekend, and see you next time. Bye.